everybody, and welcome back to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are so excited to be reviewing the Summer Nights movies that June premiered. There were 5 over both of the channels, so we will be talking about all of those movies tonight. We're so glad you're here. I'm Kari, your host, and I've got some familiar faces with me today. They were just on some recaps over the past year, right? Over just in 2022. Eric, welcome back to the Hallmarkies podcast. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks to be here. And I'm very excited that I get to do June. My group of movies is way better than it was last time. So it's good news.
Good. You were on February's recap. You just told me. And I can't even remember what a February movie was. I mean, it
did have the wedding veils.
Oh, sure.
So it had that going for it.
Yeah, good. Well, welcome back. And Megan, hey, so fun to podcast with you for the first time. We've never podcasted before. How are you?
I'm good. I feel the same way as Eric does. I had May last month, so June is looking much better.
It can get discouraging, but then you get like this great grouping of movies and it's like, oh, I remember why I love Hallmark. You know, that's what I felt about June.
Also, just the summer vibes, and it's like, oh, you're thinking about your own vacations. It really makes you feel like you're ready for summer.
Totally.
No, I know what it really was. June was the month of the topless man. The guys did not wear clothes in June.
You know, we got a few there.
Yes.
Didn't we?
There was a lot of topless guys, and I will admit they look good.
They did. They pulled it off. So we know that Christmas in July is around the corner, but we're going to wrap it up here with our June, our Summer Nights movies. And we had great destinations, a kind of a groundbreaking storyline. We had the topless men. We had great chemistry. So let's jump into our first movie that premiered early this month, and it was Hidden Gems. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think, I'm assuming if you're listening to the recaps, either you're looking for recommendations on what to watch, or you want to hear us talk about some great movies that you already watched. But I'm going to just remind us what we're talking about and read the synopsis to all of the movies. So hopefully that's okay. But Hidden Gems starred Hunter King and Beau Murchoff, and this is the synopsis here. While prepping for her sister's wedding, Addie loses her grandmother's ring in the waters of Hawaii. She hires a dive instructor, Jack, to search for her lost treasure. They immediately clash with each other when Addie insists on going on the pursuit with Jack. Once they come to an agreement, Jack ends up serving as Addie's tour guide for the island's hidden gems. So that is Hidden Gems. Eric, what did you think of this movie?
Okay, I'll tell you. In May, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be another terrible movie from Hallmark. And I watched it. Awesome. I really, really liked it. It was super cute. Now, it's not going to be like one of the top of all time, but it was really cute. New faces. Mm-hmm. Beau, I think, had been in a couple. I don't think he was the lead, but he'd been in a couple. But Hunter King, new face, and they had great chemistry. It was just really, really fun, and it was a great way to start the summer shows.
I thought the exact same thing. What about you, Megan?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I think yoga on the water looks impossible. I was like, what kind of core muscles do you need to do yoga on, like, in the middle of the ocean? No wonder she lost the ring.
Right.
But I did see some people say, like, oh, why was she wearing the ring? And I know, like, I have earrings that I got when my grandmother passed away, and I wear them all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I forget, like, I'll do something, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm still wearing them. So I do think sometimes when you have those special pieces of jewelry, you kind of forget that you're doing something where you could lose it.
Yeah. No, that's so true. You know, I was so surprised that they, first of all, Hawaii, it was gorgeous, wasn't it? It was so gorgeous. And the scuba diving scenes were just beautiful. And I loved how they highlighted the waters of Hawaii there. But one thing I was thinking, like, it just did not make sense to me that they were going so deep, so far. Like,
I know.
Why wouldn't they work with the beachcombers a little bit more? with the tide. I mean, I was like, maybe I don't know the ocean very well, but that didn't make sense to me.
Well, you wouldn't have had the big sea turtles then if you were like right by where they were doing the whatever, the yoga and stuff. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like there's a lot of nitpicky you could do in the movie, right? It had a lot of that, but
right.
Like I say, it was just cute, and their chemistry they had just, it was one of the ones where it was great. Just check out, just enjoy it. Like you say, enjoy the scenery, enjoy the two of them and everything. But I had the same thing. I'm like, why are they in this like incredibly deep water when she lost her ring like 15 feet off the beach?
Right. Right.
So,
now, that being said, though, I mean, we can talk all over the place about this movie, but that being said, I was still a little surprised at the ending when the guy did find it. The kind of, he was a little villainy, you know, a villainous. The beachcomber. He found the ring and kind of held it for ransom, you know, a little bit. And I was like, of course that happened. Of course, that's what it was. But still, I thought it was a great story. Really fun story. I liked how they clashed. That's a great thing for me with the hero and the heroine clashing, but then kind of like getting respect for each other, you know, like they had similar interests with the marine biology and everything like that.
Yeah. You don't think he came out a little too harsh at the beginning though? That was my one critique, was I thought he came off like just not likable, and I started out going, no, this is not going to be good. But then he turned pretty quickly, but she's very cute, so I would turn really quickly too. So, but like I said, he was a little just like darn right rude, like flat out rude. And that was kind of a little put off. But like I said, he turned quickly, and whatever, 20 minutes into the movie, I completely forgot about it, and I was enjoying myself. So
right. Exactly. But it was such a cute movie. So Eric, what would you rate this movie?
We're going out of 5, right?
Yep, we're going out of 5.
I'd give it a nice 4, just because, like I said, the chemistry I thought was fantastic, and the scenery was great.
Yes, nice. Megan?
I said 3.5.
Oh, 3.5. That's so true. So I have a 3.75. I mean, I think it was
wow.
I think we all kind of had the same, very similar feels about this one. It's a good one. The next one we go on to is that premiered after that was Caribbean Summer. And Caribbean Summer starred Heather Hemmings and Sedaris Blaine. This is a really long synopsis, so I'm just gonna read the first few lines actually. Jade is a morning news producer, and she's forced to take a vacation after an embarrassing gaffe during a live broadcast. She arrives at a relaxing Caribbean island, but Jade's trip gets off to a rocky start thanks to a snafu involving the house she's rented for her stay. Love the forced proximity storylines. I love that. I think that was fun. Megan, what did you think of this movie, Caribbean Summer?
I just really loved it. Again, the scenery was beautiful. There were beautiful people falling in love in a beautiful place. The mystery with I liked that they had a little bit of mystery, but at times I was a little confused and lost. Maybe I need to understand more of what a DA does, but I did appreciate that they tried, and overall I thought it was really good.
Yeah, that's great. Eric, what about you?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it too. Once again, I'll admit, when he came out of the water and she was like, that look she gave him when he whatever, she's like, wait a minute, he is a hottie. I was like, yeah, I see that too. But right. Like I say, it was just a really cute movie. It didn't quite like it as much as Hidden Gems, but it had good. And to your point, the proximity thing, I don't know if that really happens or not, but I found it hilarious. Like, you know, the lamp, you know, I'm going to come get you with the lamp and stuff. So I like that whole premise there too.
I just think that's so funny. I was thinking like, okay, he has this house and it was this scam. It was like someone rented it to her for a vacation, a long vacation, but it wasn't even a house that was on the market. It wasn't not an Airbnb or anything. And he's like, "Oh, fine, you can stay." And I was like,
Well, there were no other places on the island.
this man who wants his privacy, he ran away from Boston, this DA, he's like this, he took the fall, right, for this mistrial or something, this mistake that happened with the district attorney. And so he runs away, and like now he's gonna let a stranger stay in his house. I mean, come on. But
well, and then she stays with a stranger. I mean, this could have been an even bigger plot. Like, he could have lied to, I mean, talk about Hallmark or horror. I mean, he could have, like, it could have been a whole big ploy, I mean, she didn't ask to see proof that he lived there. I was like, can you please show me proof that you live here?
Right.
Before, that's what I would want to know.
Isn't that the Lifetime version of this movie, though?
Yeah, exactly. That would be the Lifetime version.
Yeah. That is the Lifetime version. It's so dangerous. Now, okay, looking over some of that danger and stuff, I do think that the supporting cast was really wonderful in this movie. The friend and the girlfriend and the parents and just the community on the island, and they all were there for each other, working for each other, partying together, really enjoying island life together. They were such a highlight for me in this movie.
Yeah, his best friend and his fiance, they were great, second couple and stuff like that. It was just enjoyable when they were on the screen and stuff.
Yeah. I did think that the who was it, Jade and I forget his name, but they had quite the chemistry. They really kind of sizzled with
Forward.
that. I like their whole little shtick about being like spicy food. They like spicy food, and see each other a little differently, and it was cute.
Yeah, so I think that's another little theme that was in June as well. Hallmark was a little risky with the innuendo in several of these movies, like that little spice thing of, oh, you can handle a little spicier, huh, and stuff. Like,
I thought I liked that, because that was just sometimes you want Hallmark to go there, and it doesn't. Right. And it's so bland, but this is a little spicy. They also had a joke that I just laughed out loud. They were talking about their first concert. What concert did you go to? And she said she went BSB. And I knew exactly what that was when she said BSB. I'm like, oh yeah, Backstreet Boys. Yeah. But he's like, wait, what? BSB? And
I was like, what?
She said Backstreet Boys. And he goes, were there no other Black people in your town? Like, like, why did you go to BSB instead? Because he went to Nas or something. He went to there's a concert, and oh my gosh, that I just laughed out loud with that. I was like, that's kind of an edgy joke for Hallmark to make, and so that was
right.
Cute.
So I'll go back to one of the things early on that was annoying me about her. Like, it was kind of the same thing where it started out where she was a little more annoying, and then she got into the island life, and she became, really nice. But like when the whole interview thing was going on, and she was speaking in the ear of the reporter while she was getting the text from her ex and stuff, I'm like, come on, can't you you're working in this live thing, you can't just turn your ringer off, flip your phone upside down,
right?
For like 3 minutes. You have to be
right
in this middle of the brawl. So that to me was like I don't think someone who's as accessible as she was would really be doing that. But once again, nitpicky. It's Hallmark. You suspend all that stuff. But
that, I think, that kind of played into the whole, she's burnt out, right? She had no professional boundaries anymore. She was like,
that's a good point.
Heartbreak. She was doing, it was just too gray. And so like forced vacation, I'd love to go on a forced vacation, but
I know. Yeah, no. When I make mistakes at work, no one tells me to go on vacation.
Megan, you must go to Belize right now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sure. See you later.
And don't come back until you are relaxed.
And fallen in love. Yeah.
So let's talk about why, Megan, why did you think this was confusing as far as like the mystery goes and stuff? Was it just wasn't very clear? Did they take too long to explain it?
I just feel like there was a lot going on. It was like first there was like the mystery of how did she get this house, and like she was kind of trying to figure out like who scammed her, and then it kind of changed to the fact that he was involved with the DA, and so there's just kind of a lot going on. I felt like, but I did like it, but yeah, I also want to know who scammed her, and like I wanted them to get like going back to that, if it was my house, I would want to know who was putting my house up on the internet for rent.
Absolutely, especially him as a lawyer. He's a lawyer. You'd think that there was like there'd be this mystery that he could solve. Yeah.
Well, totally. And also to that point, like she started going after it and then she just stopped. And I don't know if that's her character arc where she decided to relax or whatever. But like the person who put it up for a scam knew the keys were underneath the mat. Or it's like a weird coincidence, which I would not find being a weird coincidence. But he was like, oh, it can't be anyone on the island. So, but who else knows the keys are under the mat other than everyone on the island? So I don't know. Someone on that island's a little shady.
Yeah, everyone needs to stop putting their keys under mats. I mean, that's just a bad idea. At least find one of those
so you put it in the flower pot.
Okay.
So bad. Oh man. There was she was in a Christmas movie that I loved. Sorry, I forget it now, but we all do that. We love it, but then we forget the title. But it was with Luke McFarlane, and she was so fantastic in that movie. Well, this one was so different, but I still thought she did a great job. Like she is a Hallmark leading lady for sure for me.
Totally.
I
think she was fantastic in it.
I thought they like when they went out and they went dancing and stuff like that, like they had palatable chemistry and stuff. So it wasn't like the cute whatever. Some of them are whatever. This was like it was a saucy. Yeah. That spice definitely going.
So Eric, what do you rate this movie?
I give this one the 3.5.
Ooh, yeah, 3.5. Good. So, what about you, Megan?
So I did the opposite. I gave this one a 4.
Oh, okay. So you liked it a little bit more than Hidden Gems.
I did. I don't know why, but I just did.
Sometimes you don't really know why.
Yeah, sometimes you're just in a certain mood when you watch it.
It just hit you.
Were they back-to-back nights?
No, because they're both on Hallmark, so they're
back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I must have watched Hidden Gems a week late then.
Okay.
So I thought I watched them back-to-back. So okay.
Yeah. So Hidden Gems. Then we had Caribbean Summer, and then we jumped channels a little bit.
Wait, you forgot to give your rating.
Oh, did I not? Oh, I do want to give my rating. I'm sorry about that. I thought this one was great. I give it kind of the same one as I did last time, 3.75. It was just a solid movie to me. It had aspects that I really loved, and then aspects that kind of confused me a little bit. But I would totally watch it again. I think Heather is fantastic. I would love to see this guy again in more Hallmark movies as well. So it was good.
So we have exactly the same average rating for the first one and the second one. So
we'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hearty, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Kari from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Over to Color My World with Love from the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel. Now, this one starred Erica Durance, Benjamin Ayres, Lily D. Moore, and David DeSantis. And let's see, the synopsis is... Kendall is a talented artist with Down syndrome who, thanks to the support of her mother, Emma, and grandmother, Bev, is happy and thriving. Her life takes an exciting turn when she meets Brad in a cooking class. In a cooking class. Emma has spent the last 22 years trying to protect her daughter and has reservations about the new relationship, especially when it quickly moves in a serious direction. With the help of Nick, a longtime family friend of Brad's, Emma slowly accepts that Kendall is ready and should live on her own. So this was a groundbreaking, diverse movie as far as people with abilities and disabilities go. So we have 2 leads with Down syndrome who, first of all, I just want to say kudos to Hallmark for giving us not just a movie with people with Down syndrome in it that's a part of a nice movie, but they were the leads and they were romantic leads and they had a really beautiful story of family and support that went all around their romance. So I thought that was really fantastic and they did a beautiful job. Peter Benson was the director of this movie. Peter Benson is just making such strides and he's just getting to the top of my list of directors. You guys, he did the Santa Stakeout last Christmas season, which was a great movie. Megan, what did you think of Color My World with Love?
I really loved it. I did. It made me cry several times. I just thought it was really sweet. I know that Down syndrome and autism are obviously very different, but it reminded me of a Netflix show, Love on the Spectrum. I don't know if you've watched that, but it's a kind of reality show, but not not trashy reality, about people with who are on the autism spectrum dating and finding love. And it's just so heartwarming, warming, and just really makes you realize like everyone deserves that, partnership and people finding people who, have similar interests and care for them in that way. I thought it was really sweet. I did like it.
Yeah. Well, it's so family oriented, because that's what it is. It's not that like, it's very rare possibly that you have someone with Down syndrome, a child, and they leave your home, and they go out and be independent, although that is possible. And I loved how this movie highlighted that, not only in these 2 characters but also in the work that that Benjamin Ayres character was doing and building this community and this. It wasn't just a home, but it was a community for people with all different levels of abilities. And that was very cool to me, that vision and that part of the movie felt very real and beneficial to everybody, around them. But before I go on with my assessment, Eric, what did you think of this movie? It hits people differently sometimes, but what about you?
Yeah. I liked it for many reasons, and then some of the reasons I didn't think it was great. I liked it for, like we're talking about, how it really did center on the kids with Down syndrome, about how to have them live normal lives and things like that. Like they have this, but it doesn't mean that they should just be banished or anything like that. So all that aspect was good. I thought the aspect of the mom's relationship with her and struggling to give her, like, she gets mad at everybody else for treating her daughter any differently, but then she herself treats her daughter like she can't let go, right? So I thought all that stuff was great. And I to your point too, I thought it was fantastic that Hallmark featured them as the central relationship. The only thing like that just drove me crazy about it was the progression of that relationship. Like, it's like, oh, by the way, your daughter has a boyfriend. Right. Oh, wow. And then like 6 hours later, hey, will you marry me? Like with my daughter, who's same age, I would be like, hold on, slow down, right, everything, and all of that. So the fact like that sort of just, they did do like, oh, wait, 6 months, this, that, and the other. But I think Hallmark just rushed that, and they could have worked on the story a little more there. So that central part just really bugged me. But I thought the rest of the movie was just wonderful, and the, like you say, the bigger message was great.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, each movie like had a great line, and I forget exactly what it was, but early on when it was like, oh, you got the rude discount or whatever it was, the rudeness discount when she was by the wedding. I thought that was just such an awesome dig on that store clerk and stuff. That was fantastic.
It was so whimsical to me, this movie, just the way that like the relationship seemed very real and very good, like very solid relationships. Everyone, I wondered when you said your daughter's that same age, and what if she came back and said, she's engaged and she's going to get married to a guy she kind of just started dating. Did that make you more compassionate to Emma's side?
Yeah. I watched that movie essentially through the lens of Emma. So that was one of the things I really liked. I thought she was fantastic, and then I thought the writing in it from that aspect was really good. And I thought they did a great job of that aspect. Though once again with her cell phone, she needs to put her cell phone down when her boss is there and stuff like that. So I don't know.
So that was really creative movie to me. The way that this girl saw, she's an artist and she sees, kind of gives you the vision of what she sees, and she sees the colors and she sees the painting come alive, and that was sweet.
Yeah, I like that. I was curious what you guys thought about it. I liked it when they kind of made it into the painting.
Yeah. And then her mom does that at the end, she kind of like can slow down and see the beauty of it and see kind of through her daughter's eyes. And that was very, very sweet. Very sweet.
The other thing at the end, when you're talking about that one line, the other one that was great, well, wasn't, I guess it was the line, but at the very end of the movie, when Emma is they're at the wedding, and Nick comes up behind her and is like, hey, you want to dance? And she is like, what? But that look when she sees his voice, she like just beams.
Yes.
That was one of the best looks I've ever seen in a Hallmark movie. It was just, she nailed that one moment to me so perfectly. And then she's like, wait, and she's like, what, I can't ask you to dance or whatever it was. She's like, oh no, I thought you were going to ask to kiss me. Like going back to like how it's a little bit, spicy. Hallmark was this time, and that sort of stuff. But I thought that like that one look she gave, it was like, it was like a rewind kind of thing. I thought she just nailed that.
She did. She nailed that performance, and a protective mom, but at the same time she's falling in love. She's trying to take change.
And then at the party when it's like, oh, who is this? Oh, we haven't like figured out who we are yet. when he was talking to, was it his brother, I think, or his friend, whatever. But I thought that was like a great line too. Like they had really good dialogue between Nick and Emma and stuff. I thought they had fantastic dialogue in this movie.
Yeah, they did. They had great dialogue. Trying to see I think the person who wrote this movie also wrote, you kind of go on IMDb and see like, oh, had they anything that else I like. A couple of Hallmark movies I've just loved in the past. So it's fun to see the consistency. Like, keep giving us that good dialogue, keep giving us good characters to root for, and that's great.
What did you guys think about the story with the father, like her finding her father? What did you think about that?
That's a good question, Eric. I'm gonna let you take it.
I guess it goes back to like what you said, Megan, earlier, throwing a little too much in there. Mm-hmm. Sure, he showed up to the wedding late. He didn't really serve too much of a purpose other than offering to pay for the wedding, I guess, or some of the wedding, but it didn't, it could either, they should have done it or not done it. I think that's my opinion.
Yeah, there wasn't kind of enough, I think, closure on that. I mean, I like the part where, the daughter was explaining to the mom, like, actually we should feel bad for him because he's the one that missed out. I love that conversation because I think, when you are a child who has a parent that hasn't really been around as much as another parent. I think that is kind of a hard conversation to have, and it's a hard thing to kind of wrap your mind around it. So I liked that conversation and her perspective on it. But yeah, I kind of wanted more. I wanted like more closure, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That goes back to that wonderful dialogue that you were talking about too, Eric, and that line in that scene was really profound, and really had just a great moment where she's like, I feel bad for him, but it still is important for a child to kind of connect with their biological parent, that maybe they, you've worked so hard to be enough for your child, to the, Emma was, and then grandma, and she had such a wonderful support system that she still wanted to know her dad. And that's just, it just was heartbreaking. But she didn't want it because she felt like she was incomplete necessarily. She just knew that there was a relationship out there that she could have. I just thought, they had such good performances, and I really appreciated that. That was cool. Well, Megan, what do you rate this movie? I know you liked it so much.
I did. I gave it a 5. I mean, I just thought it was great. I really liked it. And I think it is important for Hallmark to continue to do movies like this. I think it made me learn a lot and made me want to learn more, and, really open up my mind and heart. So, I just really liked it. And yeah.
Well, it is a way to learn. Like you said, it's a way to learn, and learn in a good way. Because when you see someone come on the scene and they say, oh, isn't that so sweet that someone like her can paint so well, and they're so condescending, and you're like, oh, like I can be, oh, that was horrible. But, have I ever misspoke that way? Have I ever had a thought like that? And you can learn from these movies. What is a more gracious response here? What is a more, hey, treat her like you would treat anyone else, speak to her like you would speak to anyone else. And sure, it's fiction, but I bet it really, really models, really reflects real life.
Totally, I think it would.
Yeah, I would think so. So 5 out of 5. This is a highly recommended by Meg. Eric, what about you?
I'm trying to do some math so I can keep this at the our 3.75 average, but I'll screw that. It was I'm at 3.75.
Yes.
So like I said, if they could have just not had it be right when she met him, her daughter's boyfriend, that they're also engaged. So, but I also thought they did deal with those things well, like when, she looked at Nick and was like, you let this happen? He's like, no, I was just talking about, what love is, and you'll feel it, and this, that, and the other. So I thought they did handle stuff well. It just, like I said, I would have been, as a,
well, it sounds
and it had nothing to do with her having Down syndrome either. Like I say, it just has to do with the parent.
It sounds like it hit you at an emotional place yourself. And so that does affect sometimes how we see these movies and how we enjoy them too. It's like a little too close to home.
Yeah. I like that. And it just, for whatever reason, that's the thing I just couldn't get past. Everything else I really liked. Like I said, I thought that the dialogue was great. I thought the message was great. I thought that the relationships within it, regardless of the romantic relationships, were all great. So it's just that one thing was just, to me,
just too much.
Well,
I've got a 4.5 on this one. I thought it was very good, and so many of the points that you brought up there too, Eric, were on my list. Great dialogue, great relationships, really good conflict resolution, and that had to do with a lot of the dialogue. Fantastic performances by this cast and everyone who worked on it. It just was really a beautiful movie. So color my world with love. Yeah. Well done, Hallmark. Movies and mysteries. All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on to our fourth movie here that we are going to discuss, Mariah's Lighthouse. Mariah's Lighthouse, starring Rochelle Lefevre, Luke McFarlane. And this is based off of a book series, I guess, which I've never read. So I might pick it up actually, because I did enjoy this. But let's see. One thing that I thought was really fun before I read the synopsis is that this movie was written by a group of writers that includes Paul Campbell. And Paul Campbell is he's just such a great Hall star, really great leading man. But now he's writing more. And I can tell. I feel like I can tell like what jokes he wrote and dialogue he wrote in the movie. Really fun, kind of playful writer. So here we go. Mariah's Lighthouse is based on a book series by Serena Miller. Mariah is a woodworking artisan who lives in France, a seaside town. She dreams of restoring a local lighthouse. When Ben, an American architect, comes to town, it seems as though her dreams will never become reality after she learns that he's there to give the lighthouse a makeover, but for another buyer, someone else. Oh, Megan, what did you think of Mariah's Lighthouse?
Well, this one wasn't my favorite. I think this was my least favorite of the month, which, it was a good month, so I'm not saying I didn't like it at all. But I don't know where, sometimes the save the blank plot lines kind of lose me. Yeah. I thought they were cute and they had cute chemistry, but I just didn't really get into it as much as I got into the other ones. I didn't find myself like caring as much, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly why. My husband loves lighthouses. Like every time we go somewhere and there's a lighthouse, we have to go visit the lighthouse. So maybe I'm just over lighthouses. I don't know.
Watch this with you?
No, he doesn't watch the Hallmark. I mean, sometimes he'll like sit next to me and like be on his phone, but yeah, he didn't watch this one. I should have made him. I was like, it's about lighthouses. He loved them.
Lighthouse. This would be the one. This would be the one. Oh, how funny. Well, okay. So yeah, just because it was the maybe your least favorite of the month doesn't mean it wasn't good. I mean, there's such a good month of movies, but I would agree that it was kind of the slowest, maybe kind of the pace really slow. Yeah, but Eric, what about you? What were your thoughts on Mariah's Lighthouse?
So I thought it started out really cute and funny, mm-hmm. and some really good lines in it. One of the, like I said, the different movies had their lines, but when he came up and he was like saying like bonsoir, and then they're like, that's good evening. Oh, bon appetit. No, that's, whatever this bon voyage. No. And he's like, Bon Jovi. And then she's like, you're halfway there. Like, I thought that was line. So that's funny you said that about, you could pick out the Paul Campbell in it, because that probably is, because throughout the movie, there were like some really good little, like subtle jokes and stuff. But I thought the movie started out and then just sort of was a slow downhill thing. And it seemed like maybe like you said, how there's a group, like they just sort of kept piling in things, like the history that they found in the book and just the other stuff. So just to me, just slowly got to where it was kind of where by the end of it, I was on my iPad doing some other stuff, watching it simultaneously and everything like that, which was the only movie of the month, I'll say, that I had, to Megan's point, that did have that reaction. It wasn't terrible and things like that. And I thought like they were both good. I really liked her. And Luke is like, whatever, he's Luke. So he rarely ever goes, wrong. So, so that aspect was good. I thought they also started out with him being a little too slapsticky-ish, like goofy, whatever. Like he could have brought that down a little. But all in all, like I say, just a slow thing to the end of, didn't really care too much at the end.
Yeah. You know what? To me, what made this movie was the location. This French island was gorgeous. It's so amazingly gorgeous. The water, the town, the streets, the baguette man. I mean, like, I just wanted the flower guy, I wanted to go there and just be a part of this whole, like, I want to take a bike tour with Luke McFarlane. I mean, that's what I want.
No, you don't. He like wipes out. You want to take it with the rest of them.
maybe not with him. He was a little accident prone. But I loved the French, like the hotels and by the water and the lighthouse and everything. I mean, that to me really kept me watching. Like, what are they going to do with this place? And isn't that charming that a lighthouse would have a house next to it? Like, oh my goodness. But so it's one of the movies for me where I thought Luke McFarlane was hilarious. I thought he was adorable. This little goofy American coming in and just kind of like laughing at himself a little bit. And I don't think he necessarily needed a romance in this movie. Like it could have been the older couple reconnecting as like the main romance. But I don't know. Sometimes you just think a couple could be friends and make a good movie as friends.
Yeah, actually, that's 100% right. But they would have been so much better just being friends.
They had so much in common. They did I just felt like they could have done that, but that's not Hallmark's way. I understand that.
Right.
I want the happy ever after for this couple. But yes, she was beautiful. Okay, so I heard through the grapevine, a couple friends were annoyed at the accents. Did that bother you guys? I didn't really know this.
No, so I actually did an Instagram post on that asking, did I do Instagram or Reddit? One of the two. And asking, did it bother people? And some people were like, yeah, it's terrible. And other people were like, no, I didn't care. It was such a cute movie. Like their relationship was cute. All the other stuff. That's how I was. Yeah. The accents rarely ever bother me. There was the one earlier with Kevin McNally, right? Who I think earlier his Boston accent got all the, everyone all up in arms and stuff. Yes. It didn't bother me at all, but it was a lot of people did, like if you go through the IMDb, a lot of people complain, say that completely ruined the movie for them and stuff. Not me at all. I don't know. What about you, Megan?
Yeah, I didn't really bother me, but I'm really not that picky with accents. Right. I don't know if it's also because I can't sing, like I'm completely tone deaf. So maybe that's part of it. Like I just don't even hear the difference. I'm like, oh, I think it all sounds the same to me. I'm just not that. And I've never lived in France. I visited, but I've never lived there, so I didn't have very strong feelings about the accents.
Yeah.
Did anyone notice the wind?
And she's from Montreal.
Oh yeah, I mean,
no.
So I would guess she had to put on that accent, but I thought she did a good job.
No, as I say, so she's from Montreal, so she does definitely speak French, natively, but it's obviously Canadian French, not France French and stuff. But yeah, I think it was nitpicky to be upset about that. The other thing that I saw a lot of backlash on, which annoyed me, were people were saying, oh, why are they having Luke McFarlane, who's a gay actor? Why is he being in a heterosexual relationship? Of which he's acting, whatever. It's like so stupid. But I saw like a lot of comments about it. There's like her accent and then that. And I was like, those are just people who are just angry with life, I guess, and stuff. But
well, I just feel like those are people who don't understand show business. The business is to act, and you take a character and you make it, and he's been doing that for a long time. I feel like he played heterosexual characters way before he kind of came and did any of the recent homosexual characters that he's been playing like on Netflix and stuff like that. Those movies, right? I mean, he's
a great actor. He can do both. I mean, he does both, and I like it both.
Yeah.
I loved him in all of his roles. I think he's like you said, if it's a job. I mean, this is also how they pay the bills and how they make a living.
Here's a question: would you think about the conflict at the end of him taking off and whatever? Like, do you think that was a little forced?
Megan?
Yeah, like you said before earlier in the podcast, this was definitely one of those like typical Hallmark ones where it's like, oh, he has to run back and like profess his love. He can't, it's like in real life, you'd be like, okay, this is a good relationship. Let's see where it goes. Like, you wouldn't require the person to like, leave everything to move to France immediately.
Right.
You know, so that one, it wasn't my favorite ending. The part where he was like, "Stop the boat," and then they're like, "Oh, we're not actually stopping the boat." I did think that was funny. That got me laughing. I was like, "Okay, at least
Right.
there's a little bit of realism in here," but it wasn't my favorite ending. But it's Hallmark. That's sort of their
that's where
brand.
I think the Paul Campbell.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
yes,
think that was like the Paul
probably.
Campbell writing in that,
Totally.
because it was just funny. Yeah, once again, that was like one of the beginning with the Bon Jovi, and then that at the end were like the two my highlight lines.
Yeah. There was.
I like too about how the other guy was like, yes, yes, yes. And then he's fine. It's not stopping. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
But
we're not doing that.
the guy next to him was so excited for him. Even though he knew it wasn't actually doing. I thought he was gonna like jump off and swim.
Yeah.
And of which I was like, no, don't do that. And fortunately he did.
Yes. No, there are times for me that I really want a believable ending. Like, does this make sense that we would, like the Caribbean summer, does this make sense that he would leave the island, move back to the States, and do pro bono law work? Okay, I can see him doing that. He's moving to where she is, but yeah, sometimes you're like, well,
yeah.
Okay, I guess you could move to France. I mean, you've always wanted to put roots down somewhere, and you don't really have roots, like that kind
There's
of.
definitely worse places.
Yeah. Well, hey, Eric, what do you rate this movie, Mariah's Lighthouse?
I'll say, just because of the scenery and once again a bunch of those one-liners, I'll be nice and give it a 3.
Okay, awesome. Megan, what about you?
I also wrote down a 3.
You wrote down a 3. This is fun. I wrote down a 3.25. So not too much farther or off of what you guys.
You made it seem like this is better than Color My World or everything. Like I was waiting for like 4.8 out of you or something, not 3.25. You were like right where we were.
I know. I was just, trying to like be a balance on it. I loved the so many things that what you guys said, the writing, the scenery, just France and stuff like that. I thought Luke and his character was great, but there was a few things there that just kind of made it a nice movie to me, but nothing extra special, I guess. So
yeah.
Did I make it sound like I liked it way too much? No. I liked it.
We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. Guys, we have one more movie to discuss. 2 Tickets to Paradise, starring Ashley Williams and Ryan Pave. Now, 2 strangers meet on what feels like the worst day of their lives. Hannah and Josh both have been stood up at the altar. While shocked and devastated, they happen to meet at a park, which turns out to be a morale boost that they needed. And they commit to taking their honeymoon vacations by themselves. They realize they're going to the same honeymoon resort and keep crossing paths in tropical paradise. Seeing the futility of fighting fate, Hannah and Josh eventually join forces and help learn from one another and enjoy their vacations. That was really wordy. I don't know why I read the whole thing. I'm sorry about that. But that's the movie I saw. I mean, they get dumped. They go on these vacations by themselves. What did you think of this movie, Eric?
I have to say, I had really, really high expectations for it. And I tell you what, it totally lived up.
Yes.
It was, what an amazing way to end the June movies. It was so good. Beforehand, I kept posting, I just don't know about the chemistry, if it's going to work, because Ashley Williams is quirky, funny. Brian Peavy is kind of serious, a little stoic-y, Mr. Darcy and everything, but they killed it. They were so good together. She came down just a little bit and he relaxed a little bit, and it was so good. And I don't know, but I believe Ryan Peavy was shirtless more than he was shirt in this movie. His surfboard, like, I don't know, he carries a surfboard through the restaurant, and everywhere he goes, he's carrying the surfboard, shirtless and stuff. And which some of the best lines of the movie where I wrote them down. It's like, and we're talking about little once again, the spicy Hallmark. It's like Ashley Williams is like, "Oh, Josh, you aren't wearing a shirt," like the first time she saw him. And then when he left, she's like, "Oh, and you don't have to put a shirt on if you don't want to." And stuff, like, she was just like flat out, not even trying to pretend that she wasn't a little amazed and impressed with his little surfer bod there and stuff. So no, I thought this movie was just absolutely, and I was convinced I was going to be disappointed because I had such high expectations.
Oh yeah, and that can be dangerous to go in with high expectations, and you're like cringing if it's not good. You want it to be so good. Right. I'm so glad it lived up to your expectations. That's awesome. Well, we'll keep talking about why, but Megan, what was your first impressions of this movie?
I loved it too. I have to say that I was getting a little annoyed by the previews because I could not get that song out of my head. I would be like doing the dishes and I'm like, 2 tickets to Bear. I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I singing this song all the time for a week? And I hadn't even seen the movie yet. But yeah, I loved the movie. I thought it was really cute. I love Ashley Williams. She's obviously one of my favorites. I thought she did really well. The scenery was beautiful. I can't imagine being left at the altar. It's so terrible that it almost, I think, because sometimes Hallmark, they have these crazy scenarios and all these things, and I think being left at the altar is such a crazy thing that it makes everything else seem sort of normal, if that makes sense. Like, because you would be kind of crazy after you got left at the altar, and I'm assuming it happens. I don't know anyone that personally happened to, but I'm sure it does, and it would be very, very hard, especially when you're in that big white dress and all your friends and family. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
One thing I was like, why doesn't she take her sister or her mom on the trip? I kept thinking that, like, her sister keeps calling her like, are you sure I can't come? I'd be like, if I was a sister, I'd be like, I'm coming whether you want me or not. I'll get a separate room, but I'm still
Did you not
coming.
see Ryan Peavy without his shirt?
That's true. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
She's saying, stay away.
Stay away. We don't need any more competition over here.
I'm taken care of right now. She had already made a
connection with them. She had already promised they're going on solo. Let's figure our lives out. Let's figure out what went wrong. You go on your solo. I'll find a honeymoon vacation spot to go on at my solo. And then it ended up being the same place. But let me tell you, listen, when I first saw that these two would be in a movie together, I was like, oh no. Oh, I don't know about this. Like, exactly like he said, Eric, she is so wow, and that works so well. But with him, I was like, how could this not be like a golden retriever and a black cat thing? Like, this would be so weird. But they pulled things out of each other, I think, as actors that made so much sense. And first of all, her character was the list maker, and she was like the type A. So she had to be a little more subdued. And
I have that in my notes.
Yes. And he was like this loose, oh, I sold a company young, I have all this money, I have no roots, kind of loose adventurer type of guy, which made him have to be, kind of like be more. And he did it. he smiled more in this movie than I think I've ever seen him smile. He like cracked jokes. He was kind of flirty. Like, to me, this is his very best movie he's ever made, in my opinion. This is like at least the one I've enjoyed watching him in most, because not because of just the shirtless thing, Eric. I mean, but mostly because
that didn't hurt though.
His
Did not hurt.
His character was so cool with her. You know, he was like, he knew she was going through, she was a mess, but he just like was patient. He was pulling her out. What's on your list? Let's do something else. Like, he really saw her, I thought. So that was fun. The shenanigans. Go ahead.
What I was thinking is, so he did like all his own surfing and stuff in it too. And then I was watching all the Hallmarky live videos and at Rama Drama and stuff, that, and then seeing a lot of him in that, I'm thinking this role was actually more like who he really is. And a lot of the other roles, because he kind of has that look, right? So I think they kind of, in his other roles, made him have this more serious, stern, you know, Mr. Darcy type thing. And I think this role, he just got to sort of be himself. And to your point too that you made, I really do think, like you said, they both brought out like the best of each other in their acting, but also their roles and like the characters, you know, as well too. So it was like, I'd say I never really been too big of a fan of his. I thought he, you know, I didn't dislike him or anything like that, but I was always like, oh, he's whatever. And fantastic. I'll put him in 6 more movies and I'll watch them all now. So I'm all happy.
Well, I felt like that too. He won me. You know, I was a fan because he's Ryan, but he really won me over this movie with first of all, I really loved the writing. Tracy Andreen is the one who wrote this, and I love that they leaned into their healing quite a bit. They talked about their fiancés. They talked about things that, you know, were, why did this happen? And they talked about it for a lot, to the point where there's 30 minutes left in the movie. And I'm like, do they like each other? Like, are they gonna fall in love? Like, do we have time for this? It's like, this could be a mini series, you know? But they did. That the last half hour was awesome.
You like literally have stolen my notes.
What? Okay, say it again. What did you
literally like? I have it on here. It's like great writing. The script was just great. So I connected with, there's the 2 people who wrote it. There was the one you said, and then there was a guy who, I don't remember his name, but I was connected with him on Instagram as well.
Dustin Riker, is the director. And then the writers were Kevin Taft and Tracy Andreen.
Kevin. Yeah, so I like connected with him a little bit on there on Instagram too. But they apparently had wrote this pre-COVID, and it had just been sitting there waiting, and then COVID happened and shut everything down. And then it got picked up in January. So it all happened. But I just like told them, I'm like, they're just like, most of the movies have this unbelievability to it. I thought they didn't have, like, you could really see, like, to Megan's point earlier, crazy scenario. But then the things that played, they didn't force anything. It all seemed like a natural progression. They didn't like you were just saying, they didn't all of a sudden, you know, oh, an hour ago I just got dumped at the altar. Now I'm in love with this guy. Yeah, she was appreciating him for being, you know, hot, but she wasn't like gaga over him. And then they were like each encouraging, like, you've got to talk to your you know, your ex, you've got to talk, like, all, like, I just found the whole movie completely plausible from beginning to end, and it was romantic as well. So I thought it was one of the best movie. The last movie I thought was written this well was A Wedding Every Weekend, which I thought was a great, like a great movie, just from beginning to end. None of that stuff where you had to suspend that. I thought it was, the writing was best in at least a year.
No, I completely agree. I think that there was enough subtle romantic kind of connections and leading up to when they say goodbye to each other at the hotel. my heart was like breaking for them. They're like,
Totally.
okay, I guess this is it. What happened in the last like 10 minutes? Did that feel rushed to you guys, or was that okay?
I felt the opposite because, like I said, I like that they didn't end up together. I like that she went home with her original fiance, really kind of figured out what she wanted. Because I think the point of the movie, too, was how can you be a couple if you don't know yourself?
Yeah.
So if she would have just
Right.
immediately gone on to get with Ryan, it would have been, well, that's not really the point. The point is that you need to find yourself first before you can really be in a couple. So I like that. I thought it was good that they went their separate ways and then connected in the end. I thought it was perfect ending.
Yeah.
So when they were having their little cocktails and he said, "Oh, my mom was so right for me to come here," or whatever, that should have been the sign of no. I would say, like, you guys obviously both have husbands, but if your husband's ever saying, "Well, my mom says this," that doesn't go over too well.
No, it doesn't.
So
Yeah,
this, so sorry to your point of like, oh, do you feel rushed? This was the first movie. Once again, I'm going to go back to Wedding Every Weekend. This is the first Hallmark movie. Why? Like I say, I liked them. Like I liked Hidden Gems. I loved uh, Hallmark, or to me, Wedding Veil, Legacy. Like, so there's movies I've really liked and everything like that. But this is the first movie since Wedding Every Weekend, which I literally did not want to end. I was, as it was going, I was like getting anxious. I'm like, don't, because there's the countdown of this is happening. Okay, there's 10 minutes left. So they're
yes.
going to break up now, right? And I was just so anxious. I'm like, I don't want it to end. I want another hour of this movie and stuff.
That's
So
funny that you say that, because I too, and I wrote down that like, this could have been a mini series. Like, just like, give me time with each person and each scenario. Like, let's lengthen some of these scenes. When they go home and they both talk to their ex fiancés, and they both kind of make a plan moving forward. What am I going to do with my life moving forward, type of thing. And then they reconnect again. That I loved.
Me
And
too.
I thought, I don't care that there's 2 more minutes. I love that this is happening. And then they had a 1 year later. And so even that, you're like, yes, I'm ready to celebrate the wedding on the beach, back in Hawaii. This is perfect. It was so romantic, and he was so swoony. She was just this appreciated, quirky character, and it was such a good movie.
She was asking me for my rating, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I give it a 4.5. I loved it.
Great. Yeah, it's one to watch again. What about you, Eric?
okay, so I'm giving it a 5. Like I said, one of the best movies of there. The other thing I'm going to jump back to is early on when she's in the bathroom and crying at the very beginning. And she's like, I think it's because I made him watch Sound of Music. So the other thing that's funny is like, that's one of my wife's favorite movies, but she makes me watch. I don't hate it. I just don't get it. Like, we went and saw we saw the musical twice now. The second time I slept through the whole thing, of which she was all annoyed at me for sleeping through it. And so when that came on, I like paused. I was in the other room. My wife was out watching something else. I like made her come in, and I'm like, you got to see this and stuff. So, but no, like I said, I thought this movie was so good.
So good. Well, I had low expectations for it, and it really surpassed. Like, it was such a good movie. I would watch it again. I'd watch it again tonight. I mean, it only premiered last weekend, and I would just pop that thing on again. It was fun. It was funny. It was heartfelt. These two brought such great quality to these roles. It felt like more than a Hallmark movie to them, like they really brought their heart to these characters. And so I loved that. I am very close to a 5. I mean, I put it at a 4.5, but the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, maybe I loved it even more than that. But I did a 4.5. I thought it was such a good movie. That was really fun. Really fun. So for you here, Eric, would it be that's the best movie in June, maybe even the best for the year?
So for the year, I had Wedding Veil Legacy was another one I had low expectations for.
Yes.
Actually, I had high expectations for this, but I was just very nervous. But I thought that was going to be the worst. And I thought that Alison Sweeney and
Yes.
Victor Webster were so good. So that was my favorite movie of 2022. And maybe it's a recency bias, but like you said, that's one of the things I when I view a movie, it's like, would I watch it again?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of movies I like, but I'm like, you know, I'm not going to watch it again. And I would, to your point, I would, if it was on right now, I'd totally watch it again. So yeah, this is my favorite movie of, like I said, this is my favorite movie since whatchamacallit, Wedding Every Weekend.
Yeah. So good. Megan, what about you? You said your lowest one maybe was Mariah's Lighthouse, and then your is this your top?
No, it was Color My World.
Yeah, Color My World, I think I gave a 5, but I think they're both so different that it's hard to compare. I mean, they're very, very different movies, and I think they serve different purposes and on different channels. So I think both of these, Ticket to Paradise, 2 Ticket to Paradise, let's get it right, 2 tickets, and Color My World with Love were both really good. I thought overall June, they did well in June. I think summer is easier. May is a weird month.
Yeah, May is a little weird month. We've got like, we're not really working on a holiday. We're not really working on, you know, some of the movies end up looking like fall movies to me for some weird reason. I'm like, what? But this one was a really enjoyable month. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this recap. Thank you for spending time just like, you know, gushing about these movies with us here on the Hallmarkies podcast. This is kind of what we're all about. But yeah, everyone, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you thought of these movies as well. Did you think they just knocked it out of the park in June like we did, and which one did you like the best? Please leave a comment and on the YouTube channel if you're watching there, and subscribe so you don't miss any more of our recaps. Definitely leave a review on iTunes if you're listening there. We always love to hear from you guys and want to interact with you too. But Eric, where can people find you on social media?
All right, so I review movies as well. My website is Hallmark Movie Reviewer, and on Instagram and YouTube, I'm Hallmark Movie Reviewer on both of those. And then on, it's too long for Twitter, so Twitter, I'm the Eric Rutin.
Nice, so. Good. Yeah, go follow Eric and see what he has to say about your favorite Hallmark movies as well. I know, what are you working on right now? What's your project?
So right now I'm watching a bunch of mysteries, and I'm getting ready to do a ranking of all the best Hallmark mysteries. Anyone who knows me knows it's no surprise what my number one's going to be, but getting into some of these older ones has been kind of an interesting journey for me. That's
fun. Cool. Well, we'll be looking forward to that. Megan, what about you? Where can people find you on social media?
On Instagram, I'm Megan Ruth 3200, and on Twitter, I'm Megan D320. So love to talk Hallmark anytime.
Yes, we love it. Come find me on Instagram at Hallmark Comics. That's Hallmark_comics. And I love to interact with you guys there and just find the silly side of life on Hallmark Channel, and just funny little observations. Well, I think they're funny. I mean, to just kind of write these comics for myself, and
they're funny.
Came into like just a fun place to meet people who also loved Hallmark. Okay, thanks so much, you guys. We will catch you another time. Thanks for listening to our June recap. See ya.